we have another very special guest. Feel like we're joined by luminaries from all over Ireland tonight. It's fantastic. And one very special person is about to appear on our screen if everything goes well. And that is Donnah Vuma.
Hello,
Donnah.
Hi, Rory. How are you?
I'm very good. Great to see you.
Great. Good to see you too. Hi, everyone.
So we've got Donnah. I think you've been watching for a while, so you've seen there's people
Yeah.
actually watching from all over the world. For people who don't know you, I mean, you're kind of you're pretty much a public figure at this point. I mean, you've been around a while and involved in a lot of high-profile campaigns. But for those that don't know you, can you explain a little bit about who you are and some of your background and what brings you to the Afri conversation?
Right. Okay. Thanks for that, Rory. Well, I guess I'm here in Ireland now since 2014, and I came here with my children to seek asylum. So I'd been living in direct provision until, a few months ago when I finally decided to move out, although I'm still waiting for a decision on my asylum application. So that's how I came across Afri. I met Joe in 2015 after a presentation that we had delivered at the Orators with MASI. So that's how I then got involved with Afri, just seeing the work that Afri does in terms of fighting for global justice. Some of the issues that they work on are issues that I'm very passionate about. So I campaigned a lot for the end of the direct provision system, which I feel is very unjust and it's totally not suitable, not fit for purpose.
Donnah, where do you think things are at around direct provision? Because obviously it's 20 years old. I think this year it was set up as a temporary system.
Right.
I'm conscious that family hubs were set up as a temporary system. And it seems like I think it's already been referenced, they're almost part of Ireland's history of institutionalization. And it feels like we may be closer to ending this system. And it seems to be there's almost a consensus that it needs to change. But what's going to happen? I mean, do you feel there's any sign of hope on a political level? What do you think people need to do to make that happen?
Well, we're hoping that what the COVID-19 situation has done is just to highlight what we have been saying all along and what other organizations have been saying as well, that the system is totally unfit for purpose. I mean, this is clear when you look at the situation that's happening, for example, in Kayasavin. I'm not going to go into detail about that. But, when something like this, like the pandemic happens, it starts to, highlight all the major flaws with direct provision. Now, that being said, hopefully, we can start to see the system change. We can start to see the politicians considering moving away from direct provision to a more humane system, something where people are accommodated in the community, people are allowed to be a part of their communities, where people are allowed to live independently. Because, I mean, that's beneficial not only to people who are seeking protection themselves, but to the communities. What we want to see is this whole profit model, being totally abolished. We want to see a system of accommodating international protection applicants that's informed by, say, vulnerability assessments, which is currently not being done. And this has proved itself so much now, especially when people they were trying to identify the most vulnerable in the system when the pandemic started to really manifest. So hopefully we see the system being done away with. There is hope there. I mean, the campaign is stronger and louder now. And I think the public are more informed and they are more aware of why we have been saying that the system is not fit for purpose. There's many different ways that people can get involved with MASI. Mostly it would be to talk to your politicians, ask them what they are doing about direct provision, ask them what their views are on direct provision. It's I guess it's also important getting involved in the direct provision centers or the emergency accommodation centers as well, to hear the individual stories of people seeking asylum, to understand that people come to Ireland for protection. There's many reasons why people are forced to leave, their countries of origin. In as much as we saw during the time of the famine, I mean, we've heard stories, about the history of the famine, and I'm still learning myself, but it's something that I think every international protection applicant can relate to or can understand, because one way or another they have been forced to leave their homes. So it's I guess it's understanding and learning a bit more about those individual stories, and to be able to advocate on people's behalf, people who feel like they might not have the voice or they might not have the authority to do so, but to I guess question the government, question the people who are in positions of power, to say why is a system like direct provision still continuing 20 years on? Why are fully grown men and women being infantilized? It makes no sense whatsoever on a human level or on a economic or financial level. So I guess getting involved in that way, talking to your politicians and campaigning for the end of the direct provision system completely.
Donnah, when you hear some of this discussion tonight and some of the reflection on Irish history, and particularly our history of emigration, which really is very recent as well. People, and I'm speaking here from County Clare, which is a history that any really west of Ireland county has a huge history of emigration. Do you see the parallels between Irish history and what's going on in so many other countries today? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do, Rory, and I guess it's heartbreaking to think that we're still faced with situations like that. Like in 2020, I was looking even at the response to the whole COVID-19 situation, where the world is really standing up and reaching out to help one country or another, and it got me thinking, like, if we are able to do that, why are we not able to do that with all the other injustices that are going on in the world? Why is the children and people dying of hunger in Yemen, for example? Why is hospitals and children being killed in places like Afghanistan? If we are able to come together as different nations to fight the pandemic, why can we not fight the rest of the injustices that are happening in the world? But I mean, with every time I go to the famine walks, even today, I reflect and I look back and I think at all the journeys that are being made by people on a daily basis, even during this pandemic. And it's unfortunate that some of them are not even in a position to be able to flee right now or to seek safety. But people are still forced to leave their homes, to seek refuge, to seek safety from places where they are. So, like I said before, it's something that I guess every person seeking asylum can relate to, in terms of the Irish history of why people had to make those journeys for survival. It's the same thing that we see still going on in the world today, and you somehow stop and question, why are we still allowing that to go on? Why is that still happening? There clearly has to be a point where we realize that this is not right. It has to stop. But yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on it right now. It's a lot of emotions, just because of looking at the response, because of the pandemic, because it affects everyone. Everyone is pulling together. So we should work towards focusing on those other issues that do not affect everyone else, because it's just unjust for us to just turn away and say, oh, because it doesn't impact us or it doesn't affect us, we're not going to, do anything about it.
Yeah, it's when you say we're all pulling together at the moment, I'm very conscious that even in Clare, there's 3 direct provision centres in County Clare. Well, you could say there's 4 because there's different types now. There's emergency, right, and then the other versions. But like people in direct provision are obviously from all over the world right now, but are particularly marginalised and vulnerable, especially so during COVID-19.
Yeah, very, very true.
So Donnah, we're going to wrap up now, but I'm kind of want to ask you before we go, when you think of little Frederick and his life in Ireland as a little Irish man, what kind of Ireland would you like for Frederick, or what kind of world would you like?
That's that's an interesting question. Well, I guess I'd like to see a world where the society is more fair, it's more inclusive, where there's no discrimination or racism, because that's I know that those are some of the challenges that he is going to have to face and have to overcome, and that really scares me. Especially like when you say it right now, that as a young Irishman, how will he be able to relate to that? Will he be accepted as that? So I guess my hopes would be a society that's more welcoming, that's more inclusive, a government that does not discriminate people because of reasons of why they came into the country, possibly a government that does not segregate or seclude people, but one where everyone is able to live together, share culture, share history, and I guess just build a better world for all.
Here, Donnah. I see Donald O'Kelly saying Donnah and Claire O'Grady Walsh for rotating Taoiseach. So you've got some votes in Donald O'Kelly. Very good campaign manager,
right.
I think.
Yeah. Hired.
Yeah, Donald, you're hired. What's the pay like, Donnah? I'm going to do a little appeal for donations and funds for both Afri and MASI, for people to take whatever goodwill, good vibes, energy, enthusiasm, inspiration, support you get tonight, and to actually catalyze that and bring it forward into, you're allowed to take Sunday off still, but on Monday morning, get on it, get the donations, get behind MASI, get behind Afri and groups like Trócaire, Concern, and many of the others that are working around issues like direct provision and Palestine and many other causes around the world. So Donnah, thank you so much. Lots of love to Frederick. He's got a big Afri family now.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing him on the Famine Walk at some point. I think he's going to be famous. He'll be famous Famine Walker at this point.
So. That would be fantastic. Thanks, Rory, and thank you for Afri. I mean, it's always been great for the last. I think I've been to the walks for the last 3 years, and fortunately, last year we got to go with a group of sanctuary runners, and that was very special. I remember everyone coming away from it feeling, very renewed, and having just reflected on everything. It's. You can't even begin to explain what the experience is like. So a very big thank you to Afri for continuing on with that event and all the other work that they do as well.